Welcome back everybody to what is another video to my airbrush painting tips and tricks series, as well as I'm sure you can see a very busy desk. And the reason for this, before I get into the full video, is I just wanted to give you guys an update on what I'm looking at doing next, considering I haven't been doing too many videos recently. So I'm looking at resin kits here. One is, I've reviewed both of these before, one is the Optimus Prime and one is the Unicorn bust. So by all means let me know in the comments as to what you might want to see next, because I might build both, I might do one, I don't know really, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, on to the video. And in the last of this series I was showing you, well, the last two videos I was showing you the airbrush. I don't know if you can see from here, but if you just go onto my channel you'll see part 8 is I was talking about the actual just basics of using an air compressor, which followed on from part 7, which was actually buying an air compressor. So just some recommendations on what I think is a good starter kit. And what I want to do in this episode is focus a little bit more on the airbrushes that you're going to get, because you know, they're kind of like the more expensive parts, if you will, believe it or not. And you can get well, they range from very cheap to very expensive, so you know, there's a lot of play involved in these things. So I thought it'd be a good idea just to show you what you get as a starter set, so and some little tips and tricks that I can sort of pass on from my experience. So the ones you get, if you follow my advice in getting the sort of starter set, is you always get two for some reason, and I don't know why, but this is what you get. So the first of the two is a Syphon feed type, and I rarely use this one if I'm being honest, so I'm going to start off on a little bit of a negative here. And this is what one looks like. So you'll get this, and it's a Syphon feed because you have a bottle which plugs in, and you fill that with paint. Excuse me, it's kind of difficult doing this through the camera. And you just carry on. Now the positives with this is basically people use this when they have a massive amount to do, but you know, us as modelers, we're going to be using tiny amounts, so it's really kind of inappropriate. And the downside is that these things are really hard to clean, so that's why I don't like using it. And there is a cup that you can use also, which is smaller, but you know, even still, you know, I'd probably use a quarter of this cup at any given time, so you know, even this is overkill. And when you've got this many parts, you know, that kind of a, you know, little tube and all that sort of stuff, it's just really difficult to clean. And believe me, one of the things that you know, you can expect when you first get one of these is that when you first get into airbrushing, rather, is that you're going to be cleaning these things more often than you actually think you will. So those of you who already have one, you'll know what I'm talking about with that. So this is a clip, so you know, basically you just stick that onto wherever your wall is, and you can just hold it like that. So it's kind of useful because if you don't have anything better, and I will show you a lot of better options than this, by the way, in future videos, but when you're using one of these things, you'll find that you're holding the part that you're painting, you know, you're basically spraying, and you need to do something and you've run out of hands, and you can't just put this down because the paint's in it. So actually having a stand is kind of one of those things that you overlook at the start, but it's actually very useful to have. So yeah, one of those silly little things that you know, I found when I first started having an airbrush and you know, where to put it basically. So that's the one I use less of because of all the cleaning involved, but you know, it's there if you want it. And then this one, excuse me, this one is the more useful of the two, I find. So this one is what's known as a gravity feed type, and basically it's known as that because you get this, which you fill up with paint. And again, this is way overkill in terms of size, but you know, you can choose how much to use of it that you want. And the good thing with this is if it's bigger, then it's actually a little bit easier to clean, so you know, there is that as well. So this one comes in from the side, but you know, you can get all kinds. You'd have seen my other main airbrushes just fixed, and you know, I'll show you that in more detail later on. But Okay, so this one actually comes with a preset handle as well, so that's really cool. I'll basically show you a bit more on this later on, but that just stops you from, it gives you more control if you're just starting out, so you don't end up pushing too much paint onto your model. So, alright, so there's not a lot to talk about really. I mean, you know, I can go into more detail and show you how to break these down and how to use them when I'm actually doing an actual, you know, painting session, I suppose. But I just thought this is a quick video just to show you, you know, what you can expect if you do take my advice and go for one of these packages. And don't forget, the reason I said this is because so you can get everything you need, you know, all in one go without having to fish around for different parts and you know, getting it all working together as a system. So this being a tips and tricks video, though, I just thought I'd show you one thing, and I'll probably break this out into a, you know, a more elaborate video following this, to be honest. But with this set, you do get these quick release systems, and these are actually very, very handy. So if you don't know what these are, I'm going to show you these in the next video actually, because it's just getting a little bit long now for a quick tips and tricks video. But yeah, it's just one of the benefits to buying a set. So you get these kind of quick release connectors that are actually the right size, you know, to be used, and of course you get the hose as well with all this set. So I'll show you that in the next part of this series. So that is a very quick look on these cheap airbrushes, and before I leave, I suppose I could say that even though I have some better airbrushes, and I still use these actually, and they're perfectly fine to get you started for what we need as modelers. You know, they may not be brilliant at, you know, actual fine control and doing, you know, artist paintings and all that sort of stuff, but for us modelers, where we don't need to be all that precise, then these are actually more than fine. So, you know, don't be fooled into needing you know, £100, $100 airbrush straight away. You really don't need it. So and just to give you an example, I still use these for basically doing simple things like priming the whole kit, you know, in one colour, and also spraying things like top coats, you know, where you're just basically loading it up with one colour and just spraying it. So it's perfect for that. So yeah, that is my advice on, you know, the best way of using these really. So start off on using these, then as you get better, and if you like the hobby still, then upgrade. But keep these and use them for the simple tasks, basically the one coat, you know, heavy coat, one pass kind of things, like priming and top coating. So there you go. Okay, thank you very much. I once again apologise for not doing too many videos as of late, but you know, we'll have something to look forward to in these two kits, so let me know which one you think I should tackle first, and yeah, I'll see you guys again soon. So like if you like this video, and subscribe if you haven't, and thank you very much as always.